Hey, my fallen ones, and welcome to another Shen Pe Uts Taa-Neter production. I am your hostess and storyteller, Shen Pe. And I'm so sorry I didn't get back with you guys yesterday, but I did. I had Korean class. I had an exam. You know, I'm working on my master's in metaphysical sciences. And I also had to get the paperwork through with my consultant for my statement of faith and my tax identification number, right? So finally, when I get that, I'll be able to set up an account with my ministry, and I'll be able to receive donations through the ministry. And through and for the ministry for my outreach programs. But, I wanted to talk about, I'm going to get to other women today, but I just briefly wanted to let you know the name of the ministry is Queen of Heaven and Earth, House of Restoration, and that's twofold, right? Queen of Heaven and Earth, in ancient times, that's what our progenitor was called. Our progenitor, she has many names, like I told you before. She has more than 10,000 names. I've only been able to research maybe about 100 of them, and these are from all over the world in different cultures, right? That I've been able to research. So she also goes, her original name, her Sumer name is Inanna, right? But she also goes by Anat, Asarte, Ishtar, Ashtoreth. That's just to name a few. She has many names, like I said, right? But that's where the part of Queen in Heaven and Earth comes from, in the name of my ministry. And like I said, she's associated with a number of different names, goddess names throughout the world in many cultures. And she's also mentioned in the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 44, verses 14 through 16. It refers to the Queen of Heaven and Earth. And this is the story where the sacred high priestess were rejecting Jeremiah's male deity. Remember, I said, if you if you are like one of those, like one of those Bible thumper people, or, you just believe in, like, you're a Bible thumper and you're into the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible, or maybe even all three, you're definitely male identified. So in Jeremiah 44, of course, like I've told you before, women has been demonized, they've been criminalized, and just fallen, right? So in Jeremiah 44, chapters 14 through 16, it refers to the Queen of Heaven. And the sacred high priestess were rejecting Jeremiah's male deity when they exclaimed they had everything they needed as long as they gave homage to the Queen of Heaven, right? And that's about the only time that she's mentioned in the Bible as the Queen of Heaven. Originally, she was known as the Queen of Heaven and Earth, right? She was known as the Queen of Heaven and Earth. They used to also call her the Great Whore of Babylon. But that's a spell, right? A whore is not what you think a whore, or it's not what you was told that it was. So it's not what you was taught that it was. But I'm going to get into that when I have my website, and in my ministry I'm going to teach about that. But again, like I said, women were demonized, right? They had to be, in order for the counterfeit spirits to take control. Because I'm going to explain that also. I'm not going to do it on this platform. I'm going to do it through my ministry. I'm going to teach all of that metaphysical stuff. The 26,000 years sun cycle, and it has everything to do with that. The energies coming in and everything. But that's the first part of my ministry, the Queen of Heaven and Earth. And then you have the House of Restoration, right? And that's basically rethroning our great mother and putting her back on her throne. That's about restoring and rethroning our great mother. Okay? And I don't know if you've heard me say in one of my other videos, but the patriarch is a myth. Feminism is the patriarch. It's like really patriarch feminism. The women, the counterfeit spirit, sisterhood of Satan was used to bring down the great matriarch. There's always been a matriarch. There's never been a patriarch. It's always, even in the sun cycle of the divine masculine, it was still a matriarch. You understand? But I'm going to get into that later because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about Women's History Month. So just stay tuned for the ministry because I'm going to do a whole lot more teaching on that, but I'm not going to do it on this platform. Definitely not. So I want to go back to where I started yesterday because I didn't include some information on Dr. Nicole Greene. And I just wanted to say one of her other quotes besides, girls should know more about that they can do more besides, be a Beyonce or a Nicki Minaj, right? She also said that when someone says scientist, she wants them to think of someone other than Albert Einstein, So that's true because when someone say black women, they automatically think of the ratchetness, right? Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, other chick that just died, one of the Braxtons, she was ratchet, I don't apologize for saying that. She was ratchet. But basically when you, black women, and I don't use because I'm not black no more. I want to be white, right? But black women is synonymous to ratchetness, right? And degradation and all of the negative energy, basically. So she said, and she quoted, that when someone says scientist, she wants them to think of someone other than Albert Einstein. And it's so true, because when I hear scientist, that's who I think of. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I'm not sure if it's because, he's a famous scientist, or if it's because he was outspoken about racism in this country when he came here. And he's actually, I think he taught at Tuskegee Institute, one of the historically black colleges and universities. I believe it was Tuskegee. It could have been either there or Morehouse. I'm not sure, but he taught physics at one of those colleges. And yeah, that's the first person I think of. So I don't know if it's because he's a scientist or if it's because of his activism within the black community and civil rights for black people, right? But yeah, they should think of someone other than Albert Einstein, and like I said, Dr. Nicole Greene is a 35-year-old physicist, and she researches laser technology to kill cancer. Well, she actually invented a technology to kill cancer, right? And she's also assistant professor at Tuskegee University. And she's the first woman ever, regardless of their color, right? Or, regardless of their color or their level of melanin, she's the first woman to win a 5-year grant geared towards nurturing black scientists from Veterans Administration Research Scientist Training Program. So I didn't even know that the Veterans Administration had a research scientist training program. So she got a 5-year grant geared towards teaching black students, and I think that's awesomeness. So the next beautiful young woman that I would like to feature And I tried to get updated information on her, but she should be in high school about now, probably a sophomore or a junior in high school. So I haven't been able to find out, how her progress is doing. But I did want to bring her up. Her name is Zora Ball, and at the time this picture was taken, she was only 7 years old, and this was in 2013. This picture here, and this is the only one available of her. I'm just hoping that she's getting the nurturing that she needs to progress successfully. I really do. I really do. Well, at the time this picture was taken, she was 7 years old, and she was a first grader at Philadelphia's Harambee Institute of Science and Technology Center, Technology Charter School. I'm sorry. And she's already accomplished more than everyone you've known. She's the world's youngest game programmer. So she's the world's youngest game programmer, and at 7 years old, she stunned the computer programming world when she created a full version of a mobile application video game. Now, what's incredible is that she built her app in the Bootstrap programming language and presented the project at the Bootstrap Expo, hosted by the University of Pennsylvania. And when naysayers challenged her by asking her to reconfigure her app on the spot, please, she showed out. And she certainly showed them by handily completing all the tasks. You go, little girl. So she learned this programming at a after school center through the charter academy that she was going to, and that's how she learned it. Now, the classes were only for like 12, and I think it was like 12. Well, you had to be 12, minimum age of 12 to get in this after school program, right? And she was 7. She was only 7, right? And that's one thing that I really want to outreach to is to young ADOS girls. Remember I told you ADOS is American Descendants of Slavery. Please listen to my last video. That's where my ministry is going to outreach to young ADOS girls like this to get them into programming, like boot camp and things like that, because that's where the money reside, okay? And I've given plenty of examples of my son who is doing the thing. He actually did his first online video game, but he was much older than her. He was already like 9 when he did his, and it's actually still online, it's still accessible. But he actually uses that on his portfolio. He has built a website, and he uses that website and the video game as part of his portfolio. He built that when he was like 9, but yeah, he was way older than her. She was only 7. She was 7 when she did this, which is, phenomenal. And I just hope that she's getting all the nurturing she needs to progress and go to a good science and technology university on full scholarship. And now this little sweetie pie, this was back in 2013, this picture, this little sweetie pie. She's from New Orleans, and she was in preschool when she took this picture, and she was also in preschool. She was only 4 years old when she joined the world's oldest high IQ society. Her name is Analla Bevers, and she's from New Orleans, and she was only 4 years old. She began her genius at 4. Yeah, she's smarter than a lot of adults that I know, And she scored more than 145 in a standardized intelligence test, putting her in the top 1% of the population. And here is a more recent picture of her, and it looks like she's being nurtured very well. And I'm just so happy that I was able to get like follow-up information on her. But This is her at, yes, this is her as a part of the studio audience during a WYES TV production called Chasing the Moon, The Crescent City Connection. And this is an hour-long program that shows the important role that New Orleans and Mississippi residents played when the first man walked on the moon 50 years ago. So there were several black women, I believe, who were a part of NASA in terms of mathematics and computers that were from New Orleans and Mississippi when the first men walked on the moon, right? So looks like she's doing very well, and I hope also she should. I think she's a junior in high school, and I hope she also gets a full scholarship to whatever science and technology university she wants to go to, even if it's not in this country. You know. Now, you probably don't or do remember this young lady. Her name is Kierra Wilmont. That's her sister on the right. Her sister's name is Kayla. But this young lady, back in 2013, she was a student, an honor student, actually. She was an honor student, and she was expelled from her high school. She was expended after she allegedly ignited a chemical explosion on school property. And after that, around 2016, she received a full scholarship to the U.S. Space Academy, and that was courtesy of a NASA veteran who said as a teenager he was accused of starting a forest fire during a science experiment. Now, I wanted to bring her up because, you know, a lot of us we're punished. We're just punished, right? And this young woman made an honest mistake, but police were trying to throw her life away with a felony, right? And after the community got together and stood up for her, the charges were dropped. And she was allowed to move on with her life. Well, you know, y'all would be happy to know that her greatness is really starting to shine because she was granted extraordinary opportunities through scholarship offers that she received. And the lesson here is just really simple, that young black girls have potential and we can't allow this system to destroy them. You know? And hard work pays off, especially when it comes to education. And I want to say that too because, you know, the previous young girl that I showed, her Analla Bevers, no, not Analla Bevers, I'm sorry. Zora Ball, the 7-year-old girl, youngest game programmer, Zora Ball. She was in an after-school program, a STEM program. Science, STEM is an acronym for science, technology, I think engineering, I'm sorry. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's the acronym STEM, right? And she was in an after-school STEM program that were only for 12-year-olds, you know. She must have had one of those mothers that was like, look, you're not going to discriminate against my child because she's just 7 years old. Like, she had to be like one of those mothers like that, you know. And I had to be one of those mothers too in order to make sure my boys got everything that I needed for them to get. But I'm saying that to say that I put them into a lot of classes like that, especially free classes. Some of them I had to pay for, but for the most part, I was able to research. I live in New York City, so there was a lot always going on here before the coronavirus. But especially, you know, when they were little, there was always something going on, and I was always getting, I mean, they took cooking classes, all of that, piano lessons, guitar lessons. They played real instruments, you know, drums, all of that, right? Saxophone, all of that. But I'm saying that to say that even when I was putting them in these learning classes that were after school and extracurricular classes through their whole elementary, middle school, and high school, right? There were no girls. Like, I would be so happy when I would go to one of these like college programs while they were still in little people's school, and it was for STEM, and I would see like one black girl in there, and she was immigrant, but I was just happy to see that at least she was, so-called black, right? But I mean, it was just, I can't even begin to explain. The room would be full of young boys. The room would be full of young boys, mostly immigrants, mostly immigrant young boys. But there would be absolutely no girls. I would be happy if once in a while I came around and saw one girl. But they were very, very, very far and few in between. And this is why I'm just stressing young ladies getting an education and doing, Lieutenant Uhuru on Star Trek, being, technically literate, like, don't be like me. I'm technically illiterate, right? You want to do better than that. You want to be better than me, and you want to be technically literate, because that is where the money resides. And I can't stress that enough. That's where the future is. That's where it's going. AI technology, bioengineering, man, it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And even if you're not into inorganic technology, there's still organic technology. If you're good in biology and things like that, you can still do pretty well. You'll still do pretty well, right? So yeah, that's why I stress it, because I really don't see any girls in I don't see any girls, and I used to complain about that all the time. I used to get on my Facebook and complain about that, like, where these girls at? Where are they? Why are they not here? Why is it so easy for me to... Anyway, it's just sad. It's just sad. And it has to stop. Like, we're capable. We are capable. So you would be happy to know that this young lady... Well, I hope you would be happy, but this young lady here, Miss Kierra Wilmont, she was accepted to, or she's attending Florida Polytechnic University, and she's majoring in mechanical and robotic engineering. You go, girl. And her sister has also been accepted. Her sister Kayla, she's also been accepted, but she's studying audio production. But Miss Wilmont, she will be doing mechanical and robotic engineering, and I just think that's wonderful. Now, this young lady here is Dr. April Ericson-Jackson. She's an MIT graduate, the first woman ever of any color, and the first ADOS woman to receive a PhD in mechanical engineering from Howard University. She's also the first ADOS woman to receive a PhD in engineering at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. In 1997, she was the recipient of Women in Science and Engineering Award for the Best Woman Engineer in the federal government. She was born in 1963 and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Yup, that's my part of town, Brooklyn. Go Brooklyn. And she is currently the instrument manager for a proposed mission to bring dust from the Martian lower atmosphere back to Earth. Okay? So she still works at NASA, and she's a very important person there, apparently. Okay? First woman ever of any color to get her PhD in mechanical engineering from Howard University. Okay, and I know that's an HBCU, but a lot of white people go there too. And the first ADOS, American Descendant of Slavery, to receive a PhD in engineering and you know what? She received that engineering degree at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. I didn't even know they were doing graduate degrees there, but okay, that's something for any one of you who might be interested to know. But she's doing wonderful, wonderful things at NASA. She's the head of a department there. Now, if you're as old as I am, you recognize her as Dee Thomas from the TV show What's Happening. And she was always, you know, she was always the cynical and sarcastic one, okay? And she is Dr. Danielle Spencer is her real name. And she's a graduate of Tuskegee University School of Veterinary Medicine. And she practices veterinary medicine in Beverly Hills, California. Wow. So she's like the doctor for the Beverly Hills people's very expensive little puppies and stuff like that. When I did my update information on her, it looked like she suffered from hematoma and she had to get brain surgery, I think around 2018. And since then, she's been recovering from that in, I believe, Richmond, Virginia. So she's had to learn how to walk all over again and all kinds of things like that. So I'm just wishing her a healthy recovery, because I know something like that takes a while to recover from. So I'm wishing her a healthy recovery and hope everything goes well. And that's Dr. Danielle Spencer. And last but not least today is Marie Van Brittan Brown. Now, I wanted to save her for last because I couldn't find any education from her. She was just one genius woman, you know. I couldn't find any education background for her. But she's the reason why we have home security cameras today. She invented the CCT, closed circuit TV camera, in 1966. She's from Queens, New York. Yeah, she's from Queens, New York. I don't know exactly what part of Queens, but what actually inspired her to invent this device was that there were a lot of break-ins at the time where she was living at, and that actually inspired her to invent the CCTV, closed circuit TV camera. And she was the first person to get the patent. She got the patent for this invention in 1969, right? And basically it was closed circuit television security with motorized camera and 4 peepholes. So basically her system had a set of 4 peepholes and a camera that would slide up and down to look out each one. And anything the camera picked up would appear on a monitor, right? And an additional feature of this CCTV camera was that she invented a remote control to unlock the door. So that remote control unlocking the door actually went in partner with the CCTV that she invented. So she invented that, and she invented remotely unlocking the door, right? A lot of like rich people have those systems now. Like you can unlock your door remotely. And let me tell you that this patent is the framework for any type of camera. That's why you have a Ring camera at your front door. That's what make it possible for body cams, for police, and for me, you know, and because I already told y'all to invest in a body cam, you know what I'm saying? And Ring camera, any CCTV, any home security, it's used all over the world. It is used all over the world. And she originally intended it to be for domestic use, but businesses, even the government uses it. Everybody uses it. Everybody uses it. And they have to use her patent in order to even build a system, a home security system, anything. They have to use her patent in order to do it. Yes, Miss Marie Van Brittan Brown. born in Queens, New York. She's from New York. And I couldn't find any educational background on her, but I did find what inspired her was the robberies in her neighborhood. Oh my goodness. And I wanted to save her for last because I'm going to come back tomorrow with some more brilliant women. And I wanted to say it makes sense that a black woman, and I hate using that term, but because I'm not black anymore, but it makes sense that that was invented by a black woman, because the CCTV camera, it actually picks up things from the paranormal world, things from the spiritual world, like things that the eye cannot see, right? I don't want to use the word ghost or anything like that, but yeah, basically, I'm subscribed to a couple of YouTube channels that will show like little clips of strange things caught on CCTV cameras from all over the world. And there's a lot of them in like India, like, like most Asians, they live with their dead, right? So it's like normal for them, but it's a lot of it is picked up on the CCTV camera, okay? A lot of it. And I love watching those YouTube channels that actually show the clips and things like that. But I just wanted to, I don't want to go on a rant or a tangent, but I'm saying that to say it makes sense that a black woman would invent something like that could actually pick up things from the paranormal world, right? The people, the ghost hunters, that patent, the cameras that they use is her patent, right? But I'm just saying that these entities are picked up on regular, normal Ring cameras, on normal, regular CCTV cameras, right? And there's one of my favorite YouTube channels is Newt Top 5, I believe that is. That's like one of my favorite, where you get to see a whole lot of strange CCTV camera stuff. And I say that to say because I say it makes sense because, and I'm going to teach this, in my ministry, but the mother of humanity, I told you who the mother of humanity is, right? And what the Eve gene is and who the mother of humanity is, right? So the mother of humanity, no one can access the spiritual realm unless they access it through her. And that's just fact. That's just spiritual, metaphysical, all of that fact. No one can access the spiritual realm unless they access it through the mother of humanity. Okay? And you got the mother of humanity. She, Miss Marie Van Brittan Brown, she was the mother of humanity as well. I believe she passed away at the age of 76 in 1999. She passed away. She went to the other world, right? But the mother of humanity, no one can access the spiritual realm. No one can access the spiritual world without the mother of humanity. So it makes sense to me that here we have this woman, the mother of humanity, who invented the CCTV camera that picks up paranormal things that you can't see with your eyes. You can see the other world through her camera. Yeah. So, but I'm going to get into that. During my ministry teachings. It will be for members only. I will do my lives, and we'll have like a real interaction where the students or the members will be able to ask questions, and like we'll really be able to interact. I'm going to do that on my own website. I'm not going to do it on this platform. And that will be for members only. That will be for members only. And like I said, the membership, donations, all of that will be tax deductible. So it's not like, you're losing anything. Actually, I'll be gaining a whole lot. And through teaching, I'll be gaining a whole lot, right? But yeah, so it's crazy, but it's not crazy. Okay? But you can't access, no one can access the spiritual world or the spiritual realm. No one can access that without the mother of humanity. They need to go through the mother. You know how Jesus said that y'all needed to go through him in order to get to heaven? Like I said, there was like a whole switcheroo. The last divine masculine cycle, it was supposed to be the divine masculine, but they kind of like screwed that up towards the end part of it. And no, it's the woman, and specifically it's the mother of humanity. You need to go through her in order to get to the spiritual realm, right? Not through Jesus. But you know, again, that's for a whole nother video. And also, I want you to notice, like, if you watch like horror movies, I like horror movies. I mean, lately they haven't been so horrific. They've been kind of sad and whatnot. You know, they've been like really, really sad. But if you watch like horror movies, well, I like the Asian, like the Japanese people, they make the best horror movies. But if you watch American or Western horror movies, you'll see that anytime, and especially like spiritual stuff, like when they're playing around like Ouija boards. And let me tell you, don't ever play with a Ouija board. Don't ever do that. Don't ever let anybody get you into doing that, because you never bring back what you think you bringing back, right? Everything you bringing back from the Ouija board, those are the ancient ones, and you don't want to bring them back. You don't want to bring back the ancient ones, because they don't like y'all, okay? And I'm just letting you know, they don't. You're not talking to your dead uncle, your dead mama, your dead grandmama. No, you're bringing back the ancient ones, okay? And you don't want to do that because they don't like humans. They just don't. It's, you know, it's nothing that I can do about that. That's just a fact. Right. But anyway, if you ever look at those movies, the Western movies where they have like ghosts and there's like some type of spirit or, you know, some crap like that, notice that they always have, quote unquote, a black woman in this movie, right? Notice that they always have, because they can't go through, they can't access. And they usually go through a black woman to access the spiritual realm. They can't access the spiritual realm without a so-called black woman. It just is what it is. So it made hella sense to me when I first discovered, when did I discover this woman? I discovered this woman back in 2000, maybe, yeah, like she passed away in 1999. I discovered her around 2005. 2005, I discovered that she's the reason why, you know, I got my Ring camera, okay, and whatever other cameras that I need to have, like my body cam and all of that, and why there's government surveillance, and China is even using her patent, you know, to govern, to surveil their citizens. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's wow, and it makes hella sense. Anyway, that's it for today. That's it for today. And I will definitely be back tomorrow with some more for Women's History Month. Okay? So please, everyone, stay safe. Please take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Remember, the only person you have to be better than is the person that you was yesterday. There is no competition. Just be better than the person that you were yesterday. You know, yesterday I wasn't shit yesterday, but today I'm the shit. Okay? So yeah, so I'm definitely better than I was yesterday, okay? And just remember, that's the only person, like, you don't, like, drop all of that, what you've been taught. There is no competition. Just fix yourself. Fix yourself. Just be better than the person you was yesterday. Stay safe. You know, you only need, keep your circle small. You only need to be around people or have people in your circle, only those who truly love you, like for real, for real. Everybody else, they don't matter, right? Stay safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day, have a good night, good morning, whatever side of the world you're on, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, later.